I went to high school in Bradford, and as it turned out, I was somewhat popular because I was president of the student council, that's the student body, and some of the faculty encouraged me to go on to college. And I was in college, it was World War II, and I only finished first year until I went into military service. Well, I was trained as an interpreter, and then I was activated as those Army universities. Most American universities were Army operated during the war, and training either interpreters or doctors or engineers and others for the Army of Occupation that they anticipated. And my main objective was to return to college. I was a Harvard student when I was in the military reserve and activated, and then I returned after the war and finished my bachelor's degree, which was only a year later, 46, because I was almost through, and I did get credits for some of the military. I had military training at Washington University in St. Louis, which was a German beehive, and selected there for training German interpreters for the Army. And the faculty was, a lot of them of German heritage. Did graduate and then went on to University of Pennsylvania Law School, where Jackson was a frequent appearer. I was in Germany at the capture of Hermann Goering.
Tell me about that.
Well, he was the number 2 Nazi next to Hitler. And I was, because I had been a college student, I was put in one of the Army training programs for post-war activity, and I was a German language student, and I was an interpreter after the war in the Army headquarters in Germany, and I was present for the interview Life magazine did of Hermann Goering for the generals of the Army. That was pretty interesting. That was featured on the front of Life magazine and in the Bradford papers.
Well, set that up a little bit. Now, he sort of turned himself in, didn't he?
Well, he was captured. I don't know that he turned himself in or...
Okay. But they sort of originally treated him like a visiting...
Well, VIP.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in his powder blue uniform of the Air Force when I saw him, and was asked why Germany didn't proceed to try and capture England when France fell, rather than wait over the winter. And he said, well, he was in favor of that, and some of the German military were, but Hitler wanted to wait until the winter was over, which was fatal to their cause, because England survived that and bombed Europe pretty good that winter. I do remember that, and I think he was subdued at this point, but
Do you think he knew he might be tried as a war criminal?
it's a good question. I don't know if, I don't think the trial board had been set up at the time I'm talking about when he was captured, which was really immediately post-war. And whether at that point the Nuremberg trial was a factor, I can't remember.
If you closed your eyes now, could you describe him, what he looked like?
Portly, very heavy man, fat, and he wore the powder blue uniform, which was that of the head of the German Air Force, and a hat of the uniform, And it was a informal interview there.
Press corps?
And they were there in mass, as you could imagine, and interpreters and diplomats. The main interviewing of Goering was not done by me. It was done by, I would say, more significant interpreters. I was an Army-trained interpreter, but not the most expert of the interpreters they had after the war.
Speak in English, or do you do it in German?
He had some English verbosity, but he was interviewed principally in German.
Because he did speak English so well.
Some English.
Yeah. Did you have a chance to get close to him at all? Did you?
Yeah, we were all in one gathering, outdoors.
How many people were at that gathering?
Oh, there had to be, I'd say, close to 100 people. Yeah, mostly military.
Why did you happen to be there?
Well, that was the 7th Army headquarters, and I had been assigned as a German interpreter to 7th Army headquarters in Heidelberg. And then the newspaper made a big thing of it, and there was a big picture in the era of the Bradford newspaper of Hermann Goering at that interview, and I'm one of the persons in the background who could be identified.
Golly, what an experience.
At that time, I was also present with the head of the 7th Army, who was General Hodges, for the interview of Dachau Concentration Camp when it was captured from the Germans. And that was a historical event, of course. You've heard of that, and that was
What was your impressions of all that?
pretty bad.
Yeah.
Of course, it was nothing but a furnace where they committed all these people to death and burned them. And when we went there, it was freshly captured, and there were still wagon loads of corpses waiting cremation on the way to the crematory. So it was pretty vivid. And some very interesting people were there who had been captured by the Germans and were imprisoned at Dachau and had known, when I went, it was with the American Army headquarters and the American ambassador, Jefferson Caffrey, who was the historic ambassador to France. And he met many foreign internees at the camp who he had known in prior life of the international circle. And that was quite interesting. Yeah, and they publicized that in Bradford. Naturally, they had a story out of that.
Sure.
Big front page picture of Hermann Goering, the one that was on Life magazine. And in Life magazine had a whole array of people around him, including yours truly. And it was a historical moment